Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. I make a Sleep With Me podcast, and the stories here at Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me are stories from our main show, Sleep With Me podcast. I had a little laugh because it's a lot of words. But if you really enjoy these bedtime stories from Sleep With Me, or if you're new, welcome, enjoy them. I hope you enjoy them. I hope they keep you company in the deep, dark night, help you fall asleep. But if you really enjoy these stories, the best ways to help them keep it coming is to try out a subscription on Sleep With Me Plus at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, or just let people know about bedtime stories from Sleep With Me. It's new. It's something we've never tested out before. And by sharing it, letting people know about it is a huge way to support it and to let other people know what you like about it. So I really appreciate it. And I'd love to hear from you. If you sign up for Sleep With Me Plus, even for a trial, I'll send you out a video and thanking you, and you can reply right to that video. Or you could always reach me through the contact page on our website. Those messages come straight to me. Thanks so much, and enjoy these bedtime stories from Sleep With Me. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here to keep you company, to take your mind off of stuff and be a little bit confusing, because I'm more than a little bit confused. You could say, you could call me the auto baffler, because that was, I just listened to an intro where I mentioned that. The baffles are automatic when they come out of me. It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors were what enabled me to be here for you free twice a week. So if you can remember when your hand hits the fridge tomorrow or that coffee pot, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. Thanks. Hey, everybody, this is Scooter. I make a Sleep With Me podcast, and that's where these stories come from, bedtime stories from Sleep With Me. And I hope they help you fall asleep. If you enjoy these, let people know about the show. Just share it when you share stuff. Hey, I really like these bedtime stories from Sleep With Me. Or you could always support the show on Sleep With Me Plus. That's how we're able to do this. You could sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. You could test out a trial even. But if you value the content we make on Sleep With Me and here at Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me, it's the most powerful way to make sure they're here and available for you now and in the future. And you can always let me know about it. When you sign up for Sleep With Me Plus, I send you a thank you video. You can reply right to that video, or you could get me through the contact page on our website, right at sleepwithmepodcast.com. So thank you so much, and good night. All right, everybody, Scoots here. It's time for our episodically modular series, Spice Friends. With a touch of seriality, or a little more than a touch, a little bit of it, more than a touch or a dash, but you can listen to them in any order. That's what episodically modular means, because I'm going to fill you in on most of the series right now. So yeah, that's, I'll get it all set up for you, but, it's, Spice Friends is a tale. So if this is episode 10, I believe, but so you can listen to 10, 11, 12, or 10, 1, any order, really. I design them in that way. And maybe you'll even fall asleep during it, and you say, but just in case you're a completist, I want to give you the peace of mind that this is designed for you and mine, because I'm like that too. I say, wait a second, how am I going to watch that? Don't worry, Scoots is here. I'm here to help, really. Now, if you are a completist, go right ahead. That's why I try to work so hard to make sure we have so many free episodes in the feed. But give it a shot. You could also give it a shot too, or give it a try. So Spice Friends is a tale of a world pretty much like ours. You may have seen it portrayed in films, our world throughout history. But as soon as they discovered fission and fusion, and you've seen this depicted, these large beings, some with their circulatory system was cool, and some their circulatory systems were warm, and some fish-based. I don't even know anything about that, or bird-based. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, but large, gigantic beings, as soon as we were fissioning and fusioning around, particularly for offensive purposes, these beings started roaming the earth. And they particularly like to step on electrical poles, neon signs, and buildings, empty buildings, of course, and TANKSs and trucks. Also DAMS, not with no M though. And they would do a lot of stuff. Obviously, that's very chaotic to have a giant, forest friend wandering around your city, particularly cities they seem to go to. And, human beings tried to deal with it in different ways, and none were super effective, and it would come and go. And we never really tied it to the fission or fusion super clearly, except later on. And at one point, they had gone and come, and then the president and Vice President Smith were the presidents of the United States. And one of them came back, like one that's similar to a dinosaur. And it was wandering around, and President Smith tried to deal with it by detaching part of the continental U.S. That didn't work. Then President Smith somehow, by some means, became a big one, means that aren't important to this story. And they thought, okay, President Smith's obviously a hero. He'll, do a dance off and the giant dinosaur will go away. But really, President Smith had a secret plan, which is to lure that big one and other ones that were wandering the earth in other places and get them all in this one atoll where they would be put into hibernation by another planet, Planet Zipper, which did do that, put our whole planet under hibernation. The big ones were so big, they were the last ones to wake up. We had sent a team of astronauts to Planet Zipper to learn more about how to deal with the big ones. This was over a long time, so long. Well, President Smith was went to the place, where president, went to someplace like the Mount Rushmore in another plane. Now, Vice President Smith, she, at some point, when the whole world goes into hibernation, things change. So we're now called the Collective Nations, I think, for a time. And she became president of the world, because it was a lot of different, everybody was teaming up, for the most part. Not everybody, though. We're humans. She was waiting for the astronaut to come because the big ones were about to wake up. Only one astronaut returned from a team of astronauts. And she said, what's the solution from Planet Zipper? He said, expressing yourself through thoughts, teaching children and adults to express themselves through their feelings via song and dance. And of course she said, what? And he said, we have to trust it's going to work. And it actually kind of worked. That when it was properly done with like a motive of pure, exploration and curiosity, these giant spice-based beings would come up, like cinnamon spice. And cinnamon spice dealt with I think moth breath, and they flew off to another universe. Then there was a lime leaf who went to came and helped with feather breath or something. They went to the bottom, to visit some geothermal thing in the bottom of the ocean together. There was a garlic and boggy, and they went and they became like a flower in a volcano or something. And then there was the cumin cuties and big hairy ape, and the cumin cuties became a toy, or were a toy, and the big hairy ape would just play with the toy. But meanwhile, humans were being humans, and it was a little bit, people were using the changes to kind of make moves. So it was a little bit chaotic. Meanwhile, the astronaut admitted that things on Planet Zipper were not of pure intention, and that Planet Zipper was actually a planet of collective beings who, they had been a collection of other planets of collective beings, or a collective being. I don't know, tough to describe, tough to understand, because we're not a collective being, or collective doing, but they were. And they were experiencing some individualism and budding off, and that caused, in their society, the big ones were the result of that. And the reason there was only one planet left of Zipparians, I don't even know what they're called. We'll just call them Zipparians or Zippers. It was because because the big ones, the feelings on when you're a collective being are so strong. I guess these big ones, like become, I don't know. I don't know if we got to the bottom of it, but if you feel strong feelings, if you're a collective planet, then the big ones, I think we're close to figuring it out, but they would come. I don't think they became into existence. They're attracted by these strong feelings, and they would act pretty wild. And so, so Planet Zipper said, well, if we project our feelings onto Earth, and they'd also fallen in love with Earth because we were individuals, and I think they satisfied a lot of their needs for individualism by watching us. A little bit, you say, I don't know about that. But it was mostly like just a loving observation, like, oh, look at them playing, or look at that person going for a bike ride, or singing to their loved one at a park, that kind of stuff. And so let's see. So they decided, but if we project the big ones onto Earth, and I think also they were having this kind of transference, right? They were seeing us dealing with this fission and fusion, and they were having feelings about it too. So I don't know how intentional it was at first, but then it became intentional. It's like, well, if we get to these big ones on Earth, they won't bother us. We're the last planet. We really got to do what it takes to keep our species going. And so it ended up the astronaut knew all this and got out of there while they were trying to vote on how to deal with it up in Planet Zipper. Complicated stuff. I don't even have all the details either, but a lot of strong feelings all around. And they were kind of trying to decide what they should do. Meanwhile, Earth decided that they no longer wanted to be led by President of the World Smith and this astronaut. And then Planet Zipper offered them this offer. It said, hey, we can help you deal with the big ones. All you got to do is kind of live by these simple things we're going to tell you, which moderate your feelings. Keep your feelings under control, which is a little bit different. Like, it wasn't this joyful expression of your feelings or healthy expression of your feelings. It was like, keep your feelings under control. We'll keep watching you. And we think then you can stay human but malaise set in. It turns out, obviously, if we don't have strong feelings, we got malaise. And I'm not talking about the chips or what I say to the Queen's Court at a Renaissance fair. When I buy chips, I say, these are malaise. And when I say hi to the Queen's Court, I say, good afternoon, malaise. Not either one of those, malaise or laying around kind of stuff. And, but Zipper didn't really care because they said, okay, we want humans to stay around. We want to stay around. Then the big ones can roam the Earth, but it'll kind of be less, volatile. I think there's a solution. Again, I'm not a Zipperian, so I don't know clearly, but that was the state of affairs as I understand it. That's my honest, that's pretty clear. But, President Smith, she's a real hero because she takes action based on some discernment and what she discerns is going to be best for humanity, even if it's not an easy path. And the astronaut, now known as Astro, said, okay, I'll help you. And there's a lot of people that believed in President Smith's idea, but a lot of obstacles. Obviously, a planet of all-powerful collective being, big ones, and then popular opinion were all standing in the way of President Smith. But she was not deterred. And instead of saying no, she would always say how or what or what's the next action we can take that's under our actual control. Powerful examples for me. I mean, thank you, President Smith. With the underlying sense that she always says, all will be well. And I said, wow, she's impressive. Holy cow. So President Smith, where were we? So they said, okay, well, I'm no longer president of the world. They took that away from the humans. They started a cooking show. This is over some amount of time, an obscure amount of time passing. So they said, okay, well, became like mostly people just in popular opinion they called it President Astro. So they said, okay, if that's a popular opinion of us, somewhat diminutive, we'll lean into it. And they started a cooking show, President Astro, and they would have people on the cooking show that had strong opinions about them, non-positive ones mostly. And they would cook food, and it became a very popular show. But this is when the malaise set in, and then the cooking went from spicy to less spicy to very mundane. And then they said, whoa, this is not good for humanity. And at the same time, human beings, we're pretty, we're pretty into ourselves. That's an observation, not a judgment. And the humans did not realize, President Smith finally showed them and told them and got them to believe, the reason Planet Zipper has us suppressing our feelings isn't for our well-being and the big one's well-being. It's for their well-being. And as soon as people realized that, they said, wait a second. It'd almost be like if you had to go, if you found out you had to brush your teeth, you brush your teeth twice a day, right? What if you found out, oh, you don't really, most of the reason you're brushing your teeth is for somebody else. You'd be pretty, I don't know, you'd think about, well, do I want to brush my teeth then? That's not true, though, kids. This is fiction. That is a fictional metaphor, 100% fictional metaphor. You should brush your teeth. I was just trying to think of something that's as extreme as saying, hey, let's tone down those feelings. So as soon as people found that out, they had strong feelings about it. And then the food started getting more and more spicy. And then President Smith and Astro said, let's take these spicy feelings right to someplace and see if we can attract the big ones and the spice friends. And eventually they did, and the big ones and the spice friends arrived. And that's where it was at a plane, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that's where our story starts tonight. But first, we have a Hollywood announcer here to introduce it. Drives all the way from Los Angeles. Now, for real, again, doesn't drink any water, uses the restroom, not here. Thank you. I wonder what people react to when they see, because you must be pretty good at laying low, because I never see any picture. I mean, I guess I don't look up paparazzi type stuff, but no one's ever is that Antonio Banderas going into the gas station? Right, but he comes here for the love of all of you listeners, for the love of sleep and for the love of joy. Our Hollywood announcer, Mr. Antonio Banderas. Thank you, Scooter. As the friends beyond the binary, as the ladies and gentlemen, as the boys and girls, it's time to get spicy with our spice friends. Yeah, sizzle. Yeah. Thank you, Scooter. Always good to be here. I do love sleep. I do love you, listeners. And I love being in your ears. Yeah. Thanks, Antonio. Now you could go lie down silently. And again, try not to move. I remember I asked you not to wash your hair, or I know you have work, but I said don't, because there's something about your hair. I thought it was angels related to it because it would make this twinkling sound. But your hair also makes this, I'm pretty sure it's your hair. I mean, it looks so good. I mean, my body makes a sound when I see it, and I'm only platonically, but I still feel it in my bones just when I see your hair. But I did ask you not to do, and your hair does not look, it still looks grand. So I guess that's just this natural look. You're not even doing any product or anything. And I said, don't wash it, don't condition it, until you don't work for me for free anymore, based on, that you pay to work for me by driving in your time. Then when the podcast ever comes to a conclusion, you could wash your hair, which I'm sure is not realistic. But you humor me and you just, of course, Scooter. But it still it makes a noise I guess maybe it's somewhere between a positive groan and a sigh. I'm pretty sure that's other angels. It could be, it could be another world, the netherworld too. Maybe they, like they have this forlorn, but also pleasing sound when you put your head on the pillows that I have covered in. Anyway, Mr. Antonio Banderas, and this is Spice Friends. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so update, Madam President. So we like, I'm really pleased with our work because it was like, now that the show has gone from a cooking show to I guess it's called Flavors of Feeling Buffet, and the big ones and the Spice Friends are slowly gathering here. It did really take a lot of brainstorming and a lot of teamwork, but it was your vision again, and your confidence and your calm, your ease, that said, okay, how are we going to figure this out? And the amazing connection we may have made before and then forgotten that it's not the fission or the fusion that the big ones want to consume. It's our feelings. And then we still didn't have it because we had people doing stuff. And it wasn't until we brought on communities and families, and particularly couples, is what we started with, and bringing them on to say, hey, like, let's do these flavor buffets, these feelings. And sometimes it was expressing, sometimes it was art. It's really like a festival of expression here out on the plains. And I feel like it's like a movie where people are coming here and, we've had to figure out all the logistics. But suddenly the world is, things have shifted. Now, not everywhere, but for the most part, where we may be going towards something like the CN again, where people are seeing this as essential, like their feelings are essential and their feelings about their feelings are essential. Now, not to get carried away, because we have to translate that into positive action, which you've stayed focused on. But that expressing our feelings out on the plains, or people now expressing the feelings in the comfort of their homes and then sending it here, it's become, this is like this festival. I mean, I remember there was that thing out in what was it called? The spicy goddess festival out in, and it was art and camps, and that's what it's getting like out here. And the Spice Friends are here. The big ones are all here or coming or close. And it is exciting to be here all together. But also we know that there's something going on with Zipper. It's clear the lag time is becoming less and less. And then our observations say, yeah, they're building some sort of relay system towards Earth. Or they like, and I don't know how long they've been doing that. I didn't know about it when I was there. But they're up to something. And so we don't really have a plan other than feeding the big ones and feeding the Spice Friends and them kind of enjoying this process, and suddenly seeing, the big ones are related to certain feelings, and, each one it responds to a different level of feeling, but usually the big ones are more of the strong feelings that if we react to them instead of feeling them and letting them flow through us into the big ones, they can make us as humans make choices that don't end positively always, or maybe impact others. So it's like such a great thing to say, hey, do this, let it out, and then this being can benefit from it. Like it's giving us a new sense of purpose. And imagine that, like not reacting to our feelings, but letting them flow out and expressing them, sometimes to ourselves and sometimes to other people. We've seen them both work. We've seen it work so many different ways. And the same with the positive feelings, that those are affecting the Spice Friends, and that they've, like, we didn't even realize how bright they could look. And I mean in a sense beyond the sensory. that they have this newfound lightness, and I don't know. So it really is like witnessing a miracle. It does redefine everything for humanity, where it's like, was this what we needed? But then, of course, the looming sense of what is this gonna, how is this, we don't know or really understand anymore what's going on with Zipper, but we're hoping that they could see, hey, this could be something, right? I think, but I don't know. So that's just where we're at. And I don't know, you're trying to contact Zipper and just, we've been sending, they can see everything anyway. So, we're going to have a meeting, and then we're going to see if this can keep going, right? President Smith here. Yeah, so things, we had things that were going, we were keeping going, and, but Zipper kept building this relay system, kind of like satellites, I guess. And they seem to have made some decisions, but they still seem to be somewhat open-minded. What we're doing here is not working for them. What they realized is there was something with Spice Friends and the big ones that was like, it's not just the intensity of the feelings, it's the locality of the feelings, that the flavor buffet, the flavor feeling buffet is about closeness. And that was the whole thing with the fission, the fusion, and these other things that were causing them to be attracted to stuff, was that they want to be close to the feelings. And Planet Zipper's thought is that we're creating an unhealthy thing with them, because eventually they'll realize that Zipper has the feelings, and then they'll go back to Zipper to experience or feel the energy flow of the feelings, or whatever it is. And that they've come into a couple different conclusions. Unfortunately, I think the one conclusion, they say, okay, well, we can use this series of boosters or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't understand, because their technology is different than ours. I think really what they're going to do is come here, because they said, well, we have this planet. We have the ability to bud off, and maybe we'll just establish Earth as a new home for Zipparians, or we could go back to the way we were, and, and they'll just use the boosters to, intensify the feelings, because they realize they have to get closer. That's the whole thing. The boosters, so they can either come here or whatever is some sort of, I don't know, gates. I don't know what it is. But basically they can use it to send their feeling intensity, or come here. So they're basically sending, my sense is that they're almost done, and that it's going to be an ultimatum. Either we choose this or that. And I don't think that retaliation is our option. One, because I don't see any way that would work. And I don't see a way to avoid or defend against, say, okay, we have to reach some sort of consensus or agreement. So what we're going to do is try to express our feelings to the big ones and the Spice Friends, and we're working hard at that, going through our feelings about this, so that maybe there's an answer on the other side. It's through our feelings, through the actions of expression, and brainstorming some more concrete actions, right? Listing every possible thing, no bad ideas, but having and going through our feelings to the other side. That we'll get an answer. I know all will be well, because Emma, that's what I learned from Emma Otter as a child. And so we're going to keep working. We're going to figure this out. Well, Madam President, once again, I'm nearly speechless at your ability to help us move forward into an unknown place and find something to do that feels positive and feels like it could yield results, though you also say maybe remember the direction we think we're headed in might not be the direction we're going. I don't know. You always say it in ways that I can't quite, but I think I heard it correctly. Well, I might not be able to communicate it as well as you have. Because right now it seems like what you've been able to accomplish is talking to Zipper, communicating with Zipper, laying out the stakes as you see them, which were real stakes with real gravity for everyone, but in a way that, I don't know, in a way that influenced them to wait and to not make a choice. And now I guess that's where I'm confused. Are we buying time? Or maybe this is having options is another thing you talk about. But so you spoke to Zipper, you laid out some of the possibilities and that a lot of times they might even not be seeing all of the possibilities or all of the possible outcomes, and that an unknown outcome might be best for Zipper as well. But you talked about some of the known outcomes. If we were to have, I guess I'm backing up because I guess since the last time we talked or that I recorded a message, I believe it might have been the last message you recorded as well, is that the fact that Zipper did try to escalate things. They did influence, they used their beacons, which I guess that I said, why haven't we been using that term, beacons? They used their beacons to cause the big ones to act out in a pretty intense way. And then the Spice Friends said, hold on here. And there was a lot of ruckus. And the ruckus was toned down. And then it would go up again so that Zipper let us know, okay, they're causing the ruckus. They're influencing the ruckus. They're aware of the vicinity of feelings, that the closer the feelings are to the big ones and the Spice Friends, I don't know, something is happening, but that they're getting closer with their ability to have the vicinity of their strong, strong feelings. Though you said they're overplaying their influence, but and so we said, okay, well, this is not going to work. And that was where you said, okay, well, yeah, there's more Spice Friends than big ones. You pointed that out. And we still have a closeness. And it doesn't really make sense if you're on your way here. And we have this sort of escalations again. It's not going to work out for anybody. That much is clear. And that by them escalating, it's only escalating. It's only standing in the way of us finding an actual solution. But that escalation is just kind of acting out from their side, and that it's leading in a direction. It's really leading nowhere. Maybe that's even what you said. So that wasn't going to work. And then you said, okay, well, it seems like you have two options. Kind of try to get us to go back to the old way, which just, you explained to them. It's just not in the human, like, we won't be able to just say, oh yeah, we're going to tone down our feelings, because of a looming presence of a planet that we need to behave for their benefit. It'll also be our benefit, but only because of a looming thing, the big ones, and the looming escalation that the Zipper and the big ones feel like, or Zipper feels like via the big ones, so you said, that's not going to work probably, because it's not going to work. It definitely won't work for us. And then you said, okay, you could come here and have this as another planet. Maybe we could work that out. But if you were planning on coming here and being the sole resident or residents, however you would describe yourselves, planet Ziparians, that probably won't work because, we're not like into that. And he said, and also there could be unforeseen circumstances. Like you're just thinking you're going to move here. You're going to kick us off our planet or whatever. And then Zipper kind of said, well, we might, maybe we could give you a couple areas to live in. And it went back and forth, with kind of like backing up into a wall or something. And then they got the sense that you were just buying time. And they said, okay, how about this? There's nothing humans love more than a competition. And you said, what if, we see you've got this beacon going. We kind of see, if the big ones versus the Spice Friends, we have a symbolic thing for victory of who gets to decide. Because that was like, okay, we're not going to agree. We have a lot of different ways of looking at the problems. We haven't found a way to work together that's palatable. So what if we have a competition? And you were, of course, Zipper is aware of that because you've been watching. You love Olympics. You love competitions because it brings out the humanity. You love watching that stuff and the highs and the lows. And you're like Zipper's into that. And President, you knew that, Madam President. And they said, so you're saying we'll have an Olympic-esque competition of the big ones versus the Spice Friends. And whichever wins, if the big ones win, we get to decide. And if the Spice Friends win, you humans can decide. But hopefully, your human hearts are full of empathy and compassion, quotey quotes. But we do have that, especially with Madam President leading us again. That we would find a compassionate and empathetic way to work towards a solution with all of you. And they went for it, which kind of seems to me, I say, wait a second, I don't see, but they didn't, they're different than us. So I think the whole idea of an Olympic competition, like for some reason, they just became enamored with that idea. And maybe you knew that, Madam President, and they couldn't see past it, your brilliance. And again, like you said, maybe the direction we're heading in isn't the direction we're going or where our destination, I don't know if we have a destination. And so we're about to embark on these competitive events culminating in a relay race. And I liked how you kind of stacked the points, that the relay race would be worth, I think, 2/3 of the points, and these other things would be worth, I don't know. The point system, I said, wait a second, though, then if you win the relay race, anybody could win. So whatever, it's one half and one half, I can't remember. I think if you win all of the things, so we have to win one of the competitions and the relay race, because I don't know if we're going to win any of them. But, of course, that's just my outlook because I've been watching the Spice Friends practicing. The big ones, because they also got to choose. We got to design the relay race, but they had the ability to, because that was the only other way they would agree on it. They picked all the Olympic-style events, which are kind of dull, like giant rock throwing. That's the first event. And you have to we have to have your feet in contact, 2 feet or 2 things in contact with the ground. The majority of your weight centered on the ground. So I don't know, Madam President, it's going to be interesting because, but yeah, so we'll have these competitions. I guess I'll check back in or you'll check back in, and then we'll have the relay race, and then we'll see what happens from there. All right, Madam President here. I guess I'll relent to that. The gods and goddesses or the beings of Olympus are here and active, and lots going on. But I do have an update. We had a lot of debate. This is our kind of what I'm at least, what at least seems like our last chance. Now our last chance is coming up. So we lost the rock toss, which was probably, and then there was this water displacement splash competition. We lost that. They also wanted to do a water carry competition. We lost that. And then we had the swimming. We won that. So we won swimming. And the gymnastics style events were the last thing. And I don't think that was ever, it was, that one was uncool. I mean, we lost. Who would have thought that some of these giant beings would be so graceful, and that the Spice Friends, while, I don't know, we tried different things with I think it's just a matter of that the beacons are influencing. So anyway, so we have the relay race, right? So we have to win the relay race to technically, what is that? I think technically we would win. And it starts, a lot of it is influenced by the famous, that podcaster that was once a PE teacher in East Los Angeles. There's jump roping. Then there's a hula hoop roll. And, we've had to find, obviously, things that the Giants could use. Then there's a three-legged race, which is kind of like, that's what we're calling it, even though, there's a different, not everybody's a biped. There's a flying thing for the flying beings. Then there's this crawling thing. Then there's a digging thing. And then it ends, which we stood with a dance marathon. And right now, I guess that was one thing I couldn't believe I pulled it off. I don't know how. It's going on now. The dance marathon's going on now. And I'm trying to figure out what to do because I didn't think they would fall for that, right? Having a dance marathon at the end of a relay race. But I guess they've only observed relay races, so they didn't realize that having a dance marathon at the end of a relay race makes any, actually, I was like, they won't agree to that. But it hasn't really, everybody just keeps dancing, and it's kind of fun. It's very, it's hard to stand around here, and maybe you hear my voice isn't, I don't know, I put a spring on my microphone so that you can't hear everything trembling with the bouncing and all that. But yeah, so they all had a lead in the relay race, because each victory gave you a time boost instead of a point boost. I just said, well, let's just propose this and see what Zipper says. We pitched it, just like we would pitch one of these shows. We've created imagery and feelings, but yeah, so the dance marathon's going on, and we're trying to figure out what to do. And, I know what we're going to do next is join the dance marathon. So, I don't know, I'm going there. We're all going to join. I'll tell you, just in case. I still have hope in my heart. Maybe you can hear it. I know this is going to work out. I don't know how, because I know we're going to go to the dance marathon, all of us humans, and all of the people that have been living in the art villages as part of the Flavors of Feeling buffet. We're going to dance with them. And we're going to slow dance. Now, not slow dance. Maybe some people will be slow dancing, but a sustainability dance. And dance among the big ones and the Spice Friends. And dance for as long as we can. Because we don't have I think I do have a solution. But I can't even talk about it right now. And that's why I have hope in my heart. Something I've realized once again that I don't have, I can only get us part of the way there. So, yeah, I'll see what happens. Well, Madam President, I could say that I've never danced, and, it was a great idea that you had all that water and all the refreshments, and I danced and I sweated and I danced and I drank water and I danced and I sweated and I danced. And we all danced. And it was magnificent dancing among the big ones and the Spice Friends, and they were aware of us, so it was perfectly, I don't know. And it was weird how the rhythm changed and the music changed and everything kind of happened in a way that it felt organic, speeding up and slowing down and staying and you just trying to keep sustaining it and bringing in different people and bringing out people. But you and I were there almost the whole time, dancing and dancing and dancing. And then Zipper saying like, Zipper was not happy about it, but there was so much emotion in the dance, so much joy and mirth and so many flavors of feelings in the dance and so many humans and so many people close, that physical closeness, that physical expression of bodies on the floor, bouncing around, that they were powerless to stop the dance marathon and they were just waiting. And that's when it shifted. And you said, this is where we're at. We don't have a solution. Like you said, like you were saying, okay, we know where all the other, like all the Spice, when the Spice Friends and the big ones did come together, where did they go? And we said, well, some of them outer space, bottom of the ocean, fused in a volcano, I think, playing in a cave. And you said, we have to bring them back. And I said, why? And you said, I don't know why. But like, that's the next, you said, here's the thing. We'll dance for them to call them back. I think that'll work. Like, we'll dance with joy and longing for them. And we'll dance asking for their help, asking them to return. At least some of them can return because none of them were gone, right? So we have to call them back, because that's all we can do. We don't have, it's the next action we can take. We don't have a solution, right? Like, but we can't just buy time and dance and then hope things will work out. But I don't know. They went out there. Like, what were they? I have to believe it. I have to believe. So you said, we'll just keep dancing until they come. And I said, okay, we'll believe. And then again, this was stuff that was being broadcast. And then it was a call to the world. Because at first people were kind of watching the dance marathon or living their lives. But you kept upping that, you made it again. But it was different than the stuff with the toys and the NFTs or even the making toys for someone else. This was, and you said you saw it in a movie once. Like you said, it was like one of the sequels to one of the, like a movie where there was like dancing was a part of their belief system. But you also said dancing has got to be in us somewhere, like this raw rhythmic dancing. And you said if we could get the whole planet dancing, or most of it, you said obviously probably, even if it's 2% of the planet, that's probably all we can ask. Something will happen, like things will happen, like a solution will become possible. And so we danced as a planet together, all the humans, and I have to believe more than the humans, like because that every creature on the earth took notice, because I think it was more than 2%. There was people saying that the humidity rose as the world danced together, and people were it changed people's relationship. Like you said, all will be well. But you don't necessarily feel that 100%, right? And dance through it. We're asking for help. We don't know, wow, dancing into the unknown. And dancing and dancing and dancing and dancing and dancing is all we did. Until, again, we saw, at first it was long feather and lime leaf splashing and flying their way towards us. And then cinnamon stick and moth breath and garlic and boggy coming. And we don't know what's going to happen next. This is on camera. They're coming towards us as we dance. And, Zipper's not happy because they said we want, they keep saying, but we say we can't hear you. We're dancing. Our whole planet is dancing. And when they arrive, I guess our whole planet will probably have to rest for a while. But you're confident that all will be well. Still not exactly sure how all is going to be well. And you said, don't worry, I don't know either, but it is. It will be well. Let's keep dancing. Let's keep dancing. And so I'm going to dance for a little while longer. A slow dance, winding down before I rest, because that's what you taught me to do, Madam President. Thank you. All right, everybody, this is Scoots here. I just want to thank everybody. The second 48 through 92, the first, 95, who signed up for our Rebel News mailing list, free. sleepwithmepodcast.com/Rebel News. It's where we're going to be working with the Midnight Mission, helping the Midnight Mission with their mission, having fun doing it, helping other people experiencing homelessness. And 100% free to sign up. It's the only thing the newsletter will be used for. sleepwithmepodcast.com/Rebel News. We have about 100 people signed up now. Our goal is 6,000 to 10,000. And just one person at a time, just like everything else with the podcast. So I'd love it if you're listening right now. There's going to be plenty of other Sleep With Me episodes in there. And this will really encourage me to, this is what makes the podcast, helping is what makes the podcast work. So please sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/Rebel News. And I want to thank Katie, Kathy, and Teresa. Thank you. Thanks good night. Hannah, Eddie, and Hannah. Two different people. Thanks, and good night. Right in a row, though, too. Cammie, Kathleen, and Jennifer. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Cheryl, Karen with a C, and Cynthia. Thanks, good night. Janine, Mike, and Stephanie. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Jeannie, Michelle, and Joni. Thanks, good night. Rosie, Susan, and Lori. Thanks, good night. Eve, Tricia, and Deb. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Yana, Lori, and Judy. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Kimberly, Nora, and Amanda. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Diane, Susan, and Deborah. Thanks, good night. Asa, Maggie, and Eleanor. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Steph, Joe, and Shane. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Ariane, Nigel, and Keith. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Hannah, Marianne, and Anj. Thanks, good night. Elizabeth and Elaine and Tyler. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for signing up for the mailing list, sleepwithmepodcast.com/Rebel News. Thanks, everybody who supports the show financially on Patreon or supports our sponsors. That's how we're able to be here for you for free twice a week, including these Tuck You In sponsors that, has helped us grow the free feed. Thanks.